Have you tried breaking up with someone and it just doesn't work? Have you gotten to the point of giving up with a face-to-face breakup and you're actually pondering blocking them? Okay, before you block them, we need to discuss the previous breakups, why they didn't work, and I want to also offer you some insight into better thought processes and action methods that will make this work so you don't have to block them and you can actually end the relationship face-to-face. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome back, friends. Ashley Berges here today, and today we're going to be talking about breaking up with that person that won't let you break up with them. Okay? Maybe you've tried multiple times, maybe 5 times, maybe 10 times, and it seems that y'all keep getting back together. These situations, these types of relationships are really stressful. And these situations can be extremely overwhelming because what? Because you feel powerless to the relationship and powerless to yourself. So how do we remedy this situation? How do we actually break up? And how do we break up in a way that we can do it face to face and not feel guilty about blocking or cutting the other person off completely and ghosting them? So let's talk about that right now. This video will be the first of many discussing the breakup and the challenging relationship. I found that there isn't that much video content in helping someone walk through the breakup process, understanding why they're actually breaking up with the person, understanding the roadblocks that the other person is going to put up, as well as understanding how they seem to get back together. I hear from a lot of clients that I broke up and the next thing you know, they're back in my life. I don't understand. It's like they just won't go away. I just can't end this. But we're going to talk about why you feel that way and why you might have tried to break up 5 or 6 times but it didn't work. So we're going to actually address the issues here today, and we're going to address them in many other videos so you can understand how to make that clean break and begin to move on with your life. The first question that I want to ask you, if you're watching this video, you have an answer for this. Why did you get back in the relationship the last time? Okay, so you went through the breakup process, you tried to do it face to face. Maybe there was 2 or 3 days where you weren't in communication. The next thing you know, he or she is reaching back out to you and you start communicating. Why is that? Why did you open the door again? Okay, what was that about? Why did you allow them back in? And that's what I want to really center this discussion on, okay? Because when people tell me that they just came back in their life and there's nothing they can do about it, that's not honest. That's not factual. Okay, someone cannot come back into our life if we don't allow it. Okay, so we have to ask ourselves honestly, when you broke up the last time, okay, and you said that you needed to take a break, you needed to move on with your life, what was it that got you back into the conversation? And then what honestly got you back into the relationship? And just start thinking about that. I want you to maybe journal on this. You might want to watch this video a couple of times. My first reason and thought to that is that there are no solid boundaries in this relationship. Okay, so we know that pretty much, right, for certain. There are no solid boundaries. And so when they started reaching out to you, instead of kind of holding strong to your decision, you kind of broke because of something that they texted you, or you started thinking about them. But either way, you started that communication. And see, you can still have that communication with them. It doesn't mean that you can't communicate. It just means that you're not wanting to get back together, right? But something changed that. Something got you back in the relationship. So let's think about this even more deeply. Was it because you felt sorry for them? Okay, now feeling sorry for somebody is very interesting, because is it really that you feel sorry for them, or is this kind of the reasoning you're giving yourself to take them back, even though it's something within you? Okay, so if you're feeling sorry for somebody, is it because, you know, you were providing something for them or they were living with you? What is it that you feel sorry about? Okay, and one of the things that I find is that when we do break up with someone, when the relationship is not working, if it is unhealthy, if it is toxic, we begin to think of all the good times. And then also many times we're in these relationships because either we are taking care of the other person or they are taking care of us. Okay, so we really need to think about that. Why are you really feeling sorry for them? And I hear that a lot from people, but we really need to investigate that. And we're going to do a lot more in-depth videos on this, but I really want you to think about that, because if you're feeling sorry for them, why are you deflecting the energy and the mindfulness from you to them? Why can't you look at yourself? Okay, because we need to look within ourselves to say, why am I breaking up with this person? Even if I feel sorry for them, where is the feeling sorry for them coming from? And is that coming from a place of ego because you were taking care of them? Is it coming from a place of devaluing your own feelings, which is a very big possibility too, devaluing how you felt and maybe how you were hurt in the relationship, and then you start feeling sorry for them? Or is it helping you to keep the cycle running because you're used to this type of relationship, right? So then you feel sorry for them, you take them back, right? Is this just a kind of a predication to a cycle? Thoughts to think about. Another reason is that maybe you felt like you needed to give them a second chance. Okay, wow, maybe I just didn't give them enough time. Maybe if I just take them back this time, we can work out these problems. We can work out these issues. I'm going to give them a second chance. Now, is it a second chance, a third or fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth, a 15th chance? I'm not really sure at this moment in your particular situation, but maybe you felt that way. Now, to me, again, that's a deflection. Okay, like something major has changed in the last 3 days that they will have awakened, right? And I think that we have to think about this, because if we're wanting to give them another chance, usually that's because we have the fear of moving on. We also might have a fear of abandonment. This is getting real, right? I broke up, now I got to actually follow and do this? Oh no, I mean, we've been together off and on for 3 years. I'm not sure how to move on, okay? So I think you need to kind of stick in that and see what that's like. If you're wanting to give them another chance, what is it predicated on? Okay, what's the reason for it? Or again, is this another cycle pattern that you've been living in to avoid the finalization of the relationship? Maybe it could be because they told you that they had actually changed and they had worked on themselves. Okay, now let's think about this rationally. One, if it's been less than a year, there has been no change. Okay, if it's been less than 2 days, this is ridiculous. Okay, if they haven't been in coaching or therapy or working with a minister or something like that to really communicate and really work on their feelings, then this is not real. This is lip service. Okay, so the concept of, oh, I've changed, I'm working on myself, it has to be seen and it has to be consistent. And I know for a fact that real solid change takes a long time. Okay, and so that's usually what people say to get the other person back. That's also a deflection because you actually somewhat know the truth. As far as mentally you might know the truth, emotionally you might not, right? So emotionally you sit there and say, well, maybe he has changed, maybe she has changed, maybe I'm just not giving her enough chances, or I'm not giving him enough chances. Mentally you know that's not the case because there's no way someone can change in a few days, right? So I want you to challenge yourself on that. Instead of wondering when they're going to change or have they changed, why don't we take that energy and that motivation and that thought process and start working on ourselves to change? Maybe we need to do some work, okay? Why did I get in this relationship in the first place? Why do I have it so difficult in trying to break up with this relationship when I know that it's not healthy for me? Do you see what I'm saying? It's interesting how the other person's issues are so magnified that we see them strictly as the problem in the relationship when it takes two to tango. I mean, if you were completely healthy, you wouldn't be in this situation. So we need to really step back and say, what can I do to start working on myself to find out who I am, to identify my value so that I get into relationships in the future that are healthy and not toxic, ending a cycle pattern that I've had in my relationships, probably for the greater part of your life. Just a thought. Another reason you may have caved in on the recent breakup attempt is that you were scared that they would adversely retaliate and hurt you somehow. Okay? I get it. Maybe there's been some issues in the past where they've told you that they were going to call your work, call your job, talk badly about you. Maybe they've called up some of your friends and talked poorly about you. Perhaps you are married and you have a fear of them telling your wife or husband about the relationship. Okay? Maybe because they said that they would do it in the past when you tried to break up. This is a big one. So if you're scared of negative retaliation, if you're scared of having this issue, this can keep somebody in almost in a sense of blackmail. Okay? But let me explain something to you. If you break up now or you break up later, there's still an ability to retaliate. So we're just kicking the can down the road, waiting it out more for even something bigger to happen. So if you are in fear of the work, you need to take care of that. And we'll talk more about the retaliation and the situation with that, because I can help you hedge that off. Okay, we can get through that. But you need to be prepared for that then before you actually break up, because we're going to want to have some damage control here, right? But if you just keep getting back in the relationship out of that fear, remember, it's not going to change. If they are going to retaliate, they can retaliate now, they can retaliate tomorrow, they can retaliate next year. Another reason why you might have stayed is the fear that they actually will hurt themselves or take their own life. Okay, this is pretty self-explanatory, and probably because they brought it up in the past. If you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. If you leave me, I'm going to hurt myself, and you'll be the reason why I hurt myself. Okay, so I get it, but again, this is a major use of control. I'm not saying that someone's never going to do it, but what I'm saying is this is a huge use of control. Somebody's saying that they're going to kill themselves if you leave them. Okay, we'll talk about more of that in a specific video, but if that's the case, this is a huge method of control. I can see some of the reasons for fear, but also think about the ego involved, right? Oh, I'm their world, and so if I leave them, they're going to kill themselves. Again, we have to kind of look at both sides of that, right? Yes, the fear of them doing it, but also our ego playing a trick on us too, like we're the end-all, be-all to life's existence. So we'll talk about that more specifically. Another reason why you might have stayed, or you might have caved this time, is because of the names that they call you, right? Maybe they call you, I don't know, narcissistic. You're a narcissist. It's always about you. Everything's about you. You're just so narcissistic. You're so self-centered. Or selfish. Okay, maybe they call you selfish all the time. Maybe you've argued at multiple occasions, but eventually you give up and you just kind of let it go. But those terms sink in. Okay, and subconsciously we begin to question, am I selfish? Am I really a selfish person? Maybe I am. Maybe I am a narcissist. Maybe I am really narcissistic. And so that makes you question breaking up. Am I breaking up because I'm breaking up because I want to? Or am I breaking up because I'm selfish? Or am I breaking up because I'm a narcissist? And you begin to question them. And also, sometimes we say, well, I'm not going to break up because I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to prove them that I am the best person. I'm a great person, so I'm going to stay in this relationship and I'm going to make it work if it's the last thing I do. Okay? We'll talk about that more specifically as well. But if you found yourself in this situation, basically where you are is trying to prove to them of something you're not. Okay? That's an uphill battle that's really tough to win, usually impossible to win. And so basically you're giving up your happiness to prove them wrong. Okay, we'll see. The last reason that I want to talk about in today's video is that you want them to see you as a wonderful, amazing person, no matter what. And you know that breaking up with them will do what? Make them, well, not like you. Make you the enemy. Make you the abuser. Because you hear about their exes and how horrible their exes are, you don't want to be one of those. So you would rather just kick the can down the road for years, being miserable in this relationship because you don't want to be the asshole. And you really got to think about this, okay? Because if that's the case, I'm sure you've done some good things in the relationship. I'm sure you've been there for them. I'm sure you've done a lot of things that are good in the relationship, right? But you don't want to be defined as that jerk or that person. But you have to really think about it. Is your definition to the outside world more important than your happiness? Is how other people see you based on what they say about you, is that more important than being in a healthy relationship? And the other thing too is that eventually, if that's the case and all of their exes are losers and mean and abusive, you will eventually be in that pile as well. Okay, eventually you're going to be that too, because if I never take consideration for my own life and I never take responsibility for my actions, everybody else is wrong. Everybody else is mean. Everybody else is abusive. And if the relationship doesn't work with you, then you had to have been abusive and mean, and you were the one in the wrong. So eventually you're going to be labeled that anyway, whether you stay in it or not. Another thing to ponder. So I hope this video has helped you, because the next video I want to get really specific so that you don't fall trap into these things, because it's just the way it is. We have to understand what is being said, how it triggers us, right? Why we feel like we have to stay or not. What's the reasoning consciously, subconsciously? Also, what is our mind telling us versus what is our heart or our emotions telling us, right? So we have to think about all these different things. But what I will say is, given any of these concepts that I've talked about, you can be steady in the breakup, as far as you can have a clean-cut breakup as long as you know what? Why you're breaking up. Okay, that's a big thing, because a lot of times people break up, but they don't know exactly why. They don't know the reason. We have to know the full reason. You have to know why it's essential to break up. Also, you need to understand why these certain things work to get people back in, so you can understand how your mind is working, and you can understand those triggers and also the pitfalls that you're dealing with consciously and subconscious. It's not just on them. The exercise of breaking up with somebody in a toxic or unhealthy relationship, it's based on both people. Okay, so we understand ourselves as we take somebody back just as much as we understand more of their plight and reasoning based on what they try to do to get back in. Okay, so these are really thoughtful things. So one thing I'm going to leave you with, though, is that somebody cannot come back into your life unless you open the door. So if you're opening the door, they can come back in. If you don't open the door, they can't. So when I hear people say they keep coming back into my life, they don't keep coming back into your life. You keep letting them back into your life. And we have to understand why that is, because once you understand that insight, you can actually have a clean break and know why you did it and perhaps what you want to work on, so we don't have to go through this again. Please share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and like this video if this is connected with you and helps you. And also in the comment section below, if you want to talk or add any other comments about things that happened to you, the pitfalls that you've fallen into. You know, was it something else that I didn't bring up in this video, so that we can help each other to really get honesty, but also clarity. And that's the reason why I actually create these videos and provide these videos, because I want people to get the knowledge and information so that you can become powerful in your day-to-day life and make powerful choices instead of feeling powerless and controlled by other people. Don't forget to live your true life.